It's Stats Day! Hey everyone, it's Danielle Taylor with Keller Williams Realty here on the beautiful Outer Banks. And it's my favorite day of the month. It's Stats Day. So let's go ahead and dive in. This information is through April 30th, 2024, and it's courtesy of the Outer Banks Association of Realtors. So here we go. First thing we always check and track is residential sales units. So this is for all of the MLS for OBAR, and I'm bringing that up because I'm going to introduce something new in a little bit. But this is for the way we've always done the stats is for all of the MLS. So right now, residential sales units year to date are down about 5%. Versus 2023, but they're up 5% April over April and then down 2% to March. So again, kind of all over the map, but overall year to date, we're down 5%. I did look back to 2019 and year to date versus 2019, we're down about 8%. Okay, so units overall are down. How does that translate into inventory? So talking about inventory, our average monthly rolling 12 sits up just under 7%. Okay, so our inventory is up about 7%, which is interesting because we have more inventory but less units selling. It's not a good combination. So just something we got to watch. New listings for April were up about 29.5% versus April 2023. That's a pretty big increase, almost 30%. And of the properties that went under contract, 36% of the properties that got listed in April have already sold or gone under contract. Okay, so that's been pretty consistent for us. And the average days on market for those was 8. Okay, that excludes co-ownerships, just so you know. Residential inventory for April was up about 3.5% from March and up 57% versus April 2023. So inventory is on the rise. Definitely, I'm going to bring this up in a minute, definitely a leading indicator that we're going to want to keep our eye on. Median residential sale price. So year to date for the MLS, our median residential sale price sits at $570,000, which is up about 5% from 2023. Again, this excludes co-ownerships. Okay, so sale price is up, units are down, inventory's up, kind of all over the map. As we've seen for a while, the 1 million plus price category continues to see the highest percentage of multiple offers and the highest percentage of cash purchases. So that's just something interesting. 44% of the deals in that 1 million plus category paid cash, and 24% disclosed that they had multiple offers. So just something to watch. The sold to list ratio overall, excluding co-ownerships, sits at about 96.6%. Okay, sold to list. Here's where I want to introduce something a little bit new, and I'm going to switch everything to follow this statistic going forward. We're seeing lately a lot of additional areas, towns, counties start to be promoted within the Outer Banks Association of Realtors MLS, which is great. We love having all of those. However, I believe that most of the people that I'm dealing with and that are watching this channel are really focused on the real Outer Banks portion of the Outer Banks, meaning, in my opinion, or for the purposes of this, all of Dare County and Corolla, including four-wheel drive. So these statistics I'm going to talk about quickly now are for that specific area for single-family residential only. So trying to drill it down so we always talk about hyper-local, trying to drill it down so we can be really specific to where the majority of the people that are asking me for information are coming from, because the numbers can be a little bit different. So if we drill it down like that and start talking about price reductions and what's happening in the market, year to date, 35.5% of the properties that have sold in that subset have done a price reduction before they sold versus 33% year to date in 2023. Okay, so our price reductions are up. And the actives that have done a price reduction that are still sitting on the market, 44% of those have had to do a price adjustment so far. At the end of Q1, that was at about 35. So we're starting to see that creep up, which kind of tracks with having more inventory. There's more choice. People are really having to dive in and get the price right. But then the conflicting thing is for that subset of data, the sale price, median sale price is up 8%. So this is a really interesting thing that we've got to watch. And again, the solds are the lag. So I think what we need to pay attention to is the leading, in that 44% of the actives have already done a price reduction, and it may be a leading indicator for what we're going to see going forward. We've got to watch it. Of those properties that did a price reduction, they ended up selling at an average of about 89% of their original asking price versus those that didn't have to do an adjustment, and they ended up selling at about 98%, okay? Year to date, just some other fun facts, 30% of the sold properties disclosed that they had multiple offers, okay? So a little under a third. And in those properties that had to do a price reduction, 12% of those that did still ended up going into multiples. So that just reminds us that when we hit the right price, the market will react, okay? So I thought that was a little bit interesting. And that's held pretty steady since Q1. Another interesting fact that I think is going to be something we want to watch for an indicator is 49. So almost 50% of the properties that have closed year to date did some sort of closing concession. I think that's a really interesting statistic. I think last year to date, going from memory, was like about 44, so that's up a little bit, but isn't that interesting? Now, it could be something small, it could be something big. We're not diving into that. We're just saying there was some sort of concession. And our cash buyers in the market sits pretty standard at about 32%. So almost a third of the people that are purchasing right now are purchasing with cash. Last metric that we check is days on market. So average residential days on market for solds in April was 60 versus 45 in April of 2023. So the days on market is creeping up, which tracks with having more inventory. And so that translates into homes selling about 33% slower than they were last April. And year to date, they're selling at about 26% slower. So things are just taking longer. For actives, the average days on market sits at 89, which is down from 97 in March. So again, month over month is a little bit of a wonky statistic. We won't take that too seriously. But finally, residential properties that did a price reduction before they sold had an average cumulative days on market of 119 versus those that didn't at the 44. So again, if we sit longer, we end up chasing the market down. So that's our stats. I'm really going to start getting back into, when the market was shifting before, we stopped looking at lagging indicators like solds and we started looking at leading indicators. And with everything sort of in this transitional phase and inventory rising, we need to get back to that. So watch for that next month. I'm going to start drilling it down, getting it into hyper local, and really focusing on those leading indicators. So as always, make sure you subscribe, reach out if you have questions, if you want any information, and we hope you have a great day.